everybody, my name is Cogline3639. Welcome back to another video. Today in this one I'll be doing another card analysis video, and in this one I'll be covering the new Vanquish Souls archetype that just got revealed about an hour ago at the time of this recording. This is the last archetype in the deck building set Wild Survivors that will be coming out on June 2nd of this year. Yeah, so without further ado, let's get straight into the new card, shall we? Alrighty, now on to the archetype cards themselves. So as mentioned, this is coming out in the deck building set Wild Survivors. This is the last archetype that we have not got yet. So without further ado, let's get straight into it, shall we? Starting off with Vanquish Soul versus Raiden. It's a fire warrior effect monster, level 4, 1800 attack with 1500 defense. You can only use the first and second effect of this card name once per turn, and you cannot activate them in the same chain. Okay, reasonable. If this card is normal or special summon, you can add one non-warrior Vanquish Soul monster from your deck to your hand. Okay, pretty decent. Searcher to start you off. That's pretty good. And then the second one is quick effect. You can reveal the appropriate monsters in your hand to activate one of these effects. If you reveal one fire monster, this card cannot be destroyed by card effects this turn. Or if you reveal one fire and one dark monster, you can destroy all other monsters in this card's column. Okay, decent, but again, people can always play around that kind of thing. You know, people are used to be playing around impermanent shit, so, you know, that's something that's okay as Searcher, and it's maybe Disruption as well. It could be decent. It could be decent. Next thing up here is Vanquish Soul versus Panthera. Again, I'm probably going to mispronounce these names. I do apologize in advance. It's a Earth Beast Warrior effect monster, level 4 with 1700 attack and 1900 defense. You can only use the first and second effect of this card's name once per turn, but you cannot activate them in the same chain. Okay, I'm assuming that's something that the archetypes, most of the archetype monsters are going to be named or read for. All of them are going to be doing this. If you control no monsters in the main monster zones, you can special summon this card from your hand. That's insane. That is super good. That's just a generic extender. It doesn't lock you into anything. This probably will be played outside the archetype, I think. That's a pretty insane effect. Doesn't lock you, get a free level 4 on the field. Something to consider with that card. Second effect here, quick effect. You can reveal the appropriate monsters from your hand to activate one of these effects. If you reveal one Earth monster, this card cannot be destroyed by battle this turn. If you reveal one Earth and one Fire monster, destroy all spell traps in this card column. Okay, kind of the same interruption as Raisin had on top, but again, people can always play around things like that. So, you know, hopefully there's something in the archetype that makes it where maybe they can move or whatever, but again, people can always just play around that. But I do like that extension effect. That is actually very good. Next thing up here, we got Vanquish Soul versus Heavy Borger. It's a Dark Machine effect monster, level 7 with 2500 attack and 1500 defense. You can only use the first and second effect of this card name once per turn, but you can't activate them in the same chain. Again, same as the other monsters. During the main phase, quick effect, target one non-machine Vanquish Soul monster you control, return it to the hand if you do special summon this card. Okay, that's not terrible. So as long as, again, these are all different types, so as long as you just don't target one of him, return it to hand, special, pretty alright. Then has a quick effect. You can reveal the appropriate monster in your hand to activate one of these effects. You reveal a dark monster, draw a card. If you reverse an earth and a fire, you can inflict 1500 damage to your opponent. That's insane. Again, draw a card. If you reveal all three, do you get both effects? I think you do. I think you do. That'd be insane if you do. Draw a card and then inflicting 1500 damage. Again, nice to have this in the archetype just because of time reasons. So, you know, having in-game or in-theme time burn is always pretty nice. Just as Swordsoul. Next thing up here, we got Vanquish Soul versus Dr. Madlove. Is a Dark Fiend effect monster, level 4, 1200 attack, 2000 defense. You can only use the first and second effect of this card's name once per turn, but you can't activate them in the same chain. Again, the same as the other ones. If this card is normal or special summon, you can add one Vanquish spell trap from your deck to hand. Okay, spell trap searcher is always very nice. It just depends on what the spell traps actually do, so we'll get to that in just 1 second. The second effect here is quick effect. You can reveal the appropriate monster in hand to activate one of... Okay, so you can only activate one of these effects. So, for the one Heavy Borger, I was saying if you can activate both of these effects, you can only activate one of these effects. Okay, so my bad. Didn't read it. Typical Yu-Gi-Oh player. Okay, so you can only activate one of these effects. If you reveal one dark monster, One face-up monster your opponent controls loses 500 attack and defense. Okay, that's like whatever. Or if you reveal a 1 dark and 1 earth monster, return 1 face-up monster on the field with the lowest defense to the hand. Ooh, okay, that's alright. Non-targeting removal is always going to be nice, especially lowest defense. Again, I don't know how this is going to work with Link Monsters. Does Link Monsters automatically just have 0 defense? Something to always, again, rolling issues and stuff like that. But again, I like that interruption more than the other ones because this doesn't matter what column it's in. So that always could be nice. Next thing up here, we got Vanquish Soul versus Pluton HG. Again, going to mispronounce his name. I do apologize. Fire Zombie effect monster, level 6 with 0 attack, 0 defense. You can only use the first and second effect of this card names once per turn, but you can't activate them in the same chain. Same thing. During your opponent's turn, if you control no monsters in the main monster zone, or all monsters you control in the main monster zones are Vanquish Soul monsters, special summon this card from your hand. Okay, could be decent. Quick effect, you can reveal the appropriate monsters in your hand to activate one of these effects. You reveal a fire monster, this card gains 3,000 defense till the end of the turn. If you reveal 1 dark and 1 earth monster, this gains 3,000 attack until the end of the turn. That seems pretty bad, to be honest with you. I don't think that's going to be really that good, especially since it can only special summon during the opponent's turn as well. That doesn't seem that great to me, to be honest with you. Okay, and the cover card for the Archetype, this is a part of the Wild Survivors pack. You know what I'm talking about. It's a part of the man, I cannot speak English today. It's a part of the cover art for Wild Survivors. Okay, Vanquish Soul versus Kaiser Varus. Again, going to mispronounce these names. Earth Dragon effect monster with level 8, 3,000 attack, 1,500 defense. You can only use the first and second effect of this card names once per turn, but you can't activate in the same chain, of course, as usual. During the main phase, quick effect, target 1 non-dragon Vanquish Soul monster you control, return to the hand if you do special summon this card. Okay, the same thing as the machine one did. And then, quick effect, you can reveal the appropriate monsters in hand to activate one of these effects. You reveal 1 earth monster. This card is unaffected by your opponent's activated effects this turn. Okay, pretty nice. Or the other one where you can reveal 1 earth, 1 fire, and a dark monster. Destroy 1 other card on the field. Okay, you can only activate 1 of these effects, so that's unfortunate. But again, interruption's always going to be nice, especially non-targeting one. That's going to be very good. Both effects are pretty insane. Pretty good card. Now on to the Link monster. This looks like the only extra deck monster we have, which is Rock of the Vanquisher, a dark rock Link monster with 0 attack, a Link 1, and a bottom pointing arrow. Requires 1 Vanquish Soul monster to go into. Cannot be used as Link material. Okay, want to put that restriction on because, you know, obviously you don't want this to get abused. You can only use the second effect of this card's name once per turn. While you control a Vanquish Soul monster, your opponent's monsters can only target your monsters with the highest attack for attacks, if tied their choice. I mean, that's like, alright, they can always just play around that. But the second one is during the main phase, quick effect, activate one of these effects. Special summon 1 Vanquish Soul monster from your hand, or add 1 Vanquish Soul monster from your graveyard back to your hand. Okay, this could be decent to special summon out the ones that can destroy in the columns. So you know, special summon 1 to your opponent specials into a column, activates the effect, special summon the guy that can pop a card in the same column. That could be very decent. Okay, alright, Link monster to start us off with it. Okay, very decent. Now on to the spell cards. We're going to start off with the Vanquish Soul Dust Devil, a quick play spell card for the Archetype. You can only activate 1 card with this card's name once per turn, so hard, of course, makes sense. Target 1 Vanquish Soul monster you control, change its battle position, then you can change face-up monsters your opponent controls to face-down defense position up to the number of Vanquish Soul monsters you control with different names. That's insane. Holy shit. You know, Book of Eclipse is already playable. Ninja is a rogue deck for kind of the same reason. That could be decent. That could be something you want to work with. I'm not against that. Especially since the Spell Trap one, just on normal or special, just adds the Spell Trap, which is pretty insane. That's actually pretty good interruption for the card. Again, it only works with the Vanquish Soul because you have to up to the number of Vanquish Soul monsters you control with different names. But very, very decent. I forgot to turn off my notifications on the phone, but that's fine. Next thing up, we got Vanquish Soul Continue, which is another quick play spell for the archetype. You can only activate one card with this card's name. Again, only activate, makes sense. Pay 500 life points, then target one Vanquish Soul monster in your graveyard, either add it to your hand or special summon it in defense. Okay, Monster Reborn, quick play Monster Reborn, very decent, again, to get the cards. You know, always going to be alright. Again, that's probably okay. Maybe you play this as a one-off since it is searchable. Now on to the traps. We got two of them here, which is, starting off with a normal trap, Vanquish Soul Trinity Burst. You can only activate this once per turn. You can target one Vanquish Soul monster you control, special summon up to 2 Vanquish Soul monsters from your hand with different names and different original attributes from the targeted monster, but their effects are negated. Also return them to the hand during the end phase. Then you can return all opponent's cards in the targets and the special summon monster columns to the hand. Okay, so potentially an interrupt of 3, but it is ashable, which is, not the greatest thing in the world. But again, pretty decent, especially since it is searchable as well. And it does return into the hand during the end phase. It does negate their effects, though, which is unfortunate. But for the interruption, it is probably nice. Now on to the counter trap we have here is Vanquish Soul Calamity Kaiser, which is a counter trap. You can only activate this card once per turn. When your opponent activates a spell or trap card or monster effect that targets a card you control and you control a Vanquish Soul monster. Okay, sorry about that. Negate the activation if you do destroy that card. Then you can inflict damage to your opponent equal to the attack of one Vanquish Soul monster you control. That, I mean, that's all right. It's somewhat there. Unfortunately, you have to target the card. Your opponent has to target the card for you to negate, which, they can always play around. But again, probably fine. There's a lot of cards that to target in the game. But, there's always those notable exceptions. Something like Zeus. This can't negate Zeus or something like that. So, all right, pretty decent. And then Tanky's getting reprinted. That doesn't really make sense for this archetype. All of them are different attributes. So, there is that. But, okay, now let's get on to my opinions on the archetype. So, is the new Vanquish Soul archetype good? I think it's pretty decent. I think it has a lot of things going for it. It already has a monster searcher, a spell trap searcher that also acts as interruption. Has the big boss monster that can destroy cards and also becomes unaffected. They have that one guy that can it's a free special summon, which is pretty insane. Like, there's a lot of things going for it. The spell traps, I mean, the quick play spell that's basically multiple Book of Moons is very, very, very good. And especially since this is just its initial release, there's obviously we're going to get more support in like other main sets because they always do this with the deck building sets. So I think this has a very good shot. Maybe it gets splashed in some other archetype because it doesn't lock you into anything. So you can always play other archetypes in it. This is something to look out for. I think it could be decent, especially in a meta where it's not that fast to begin with. It's kind of a control-heavy format right now. I feel like this deck can take advantage of that. Again, we'll have to see. Maybe I am wrong. Let me know in the comments if you think I am wrong or am I right. So yeah, I hope you guys did enjoy the video. If you did, leave a like and subscribe for more content on the channel. And I hope to see you guys in the next one. Goodbye.